DraftSociety.com presents a Premier League Draft Fantasy Podcast. Welcome to the Key Pass Collective, your exclusive source for the information, analysis, and advice you need to dominate your fantasy leagues. Come on in. We've been expecting you.
Welcome, everyone, to the Key Pass Collective. Thank you for bearing with us. We're dealing with a few technical difficulties. I've been told that my compatriots cannot see me, so I don't know if that's the same for you, if I'm a shadowy figure in the background, but it is indeed Ryan Barnes, CNFC 82. Joe is on a much-deserved holiday on the West Coast, so I will be filling in as your main MC. It feels like a reunion of sorts because we have the old school crew, myself, one Draft Genie, no less, and Toddy. So yeah, we have a great crew coming in, and it's always obviously a treat to see Genie as well. But of course, the Key Pass Collective is the audio companion to the Draft Society, where you can find anything and everything on this draft EPL game that we love and hate so much. So I won't bore you with the details, but at this point you should know. But we're still running that Draft Miss special almost 4 months later. But yeah, if you haven't already and you need some late season pick-me-ups and some playoff prep, then yeah, certainly take advantage of our leaving of the Christmas tree for the last couple months. So so this is what we have on tap for you today. It's been a long international break. There have been some developments in the international game, so we go run you through the long list of injuries coming from the international break. If you didn't see earlier today, we dropped our latest, greatest, and last set of rankings for the season. So we'll discuss who we like, who we don't like, a few different things depending on the rest of season fixtures. We'll also go through our Gameweek 30 waiver wire picks, and then we'll end with a little bit of a walk down memory lane, given that we have Genie and the old school crew with us. We always get asked about how we came about, so I decided to take advantage of the international break to talk a little bit about that. So that's what we have in store for you. So yeah, let's kick off with the international break casualties. Toddy, do you want to run through those?
Yes, I will. And sorry in advance to our listeners. I'm a bit under the weather, so I'll be sipping some masala chai at certain points of the podcast. Hey all, hey Genie, long time. Hope it's not the type of appearance from Genie that he needs to leave after 45 minutes or something like that.
No, I'll be here for the full extent unless we go for like 4 hours, which you never know.
You never know.
I mean, if you remember,
it's gonna be a short one.
We certainly can.
we certainly can. Not as long as Sanji and Ryan, but I think we run them close. Okay, so obviously throughout the live stream we are taking questions, and we'll be discussing them either throughout or at the end. And before we go to our international break casualties, we just want to highlight that the doubles and blanks have been announced. There's only one question mark, and I think that is whether Spurs will double in 36 or 37. Am I correct, guys?
I
Yeah.
thought they were gonna double in 37, but
They're doubling
Yeah, they're definitely
that
doubling
was
in
35 and
37.
37.
Yeah, sorry, that's correct, Ryan. So they are doubling in 37 for sure, and they're either doubling in 35 or 36.
That's right.
I heard rumors there could be a triple game week.
Oh, God. When in 37?
In 37 for
Yeah.
Spurs?
For Spurs and Chelsea, it would be
Oh, God. Imagine the
unlikely,
playoffs.
but it's in the cards for those with playoffs. Just something to monitor.
Yeah, so the 34 doubles are confirmed, and all the rest are still up in the air. But the 37 doubles are pretty much done too. You can see the image on the screen, and you can go to almost any FPL site that has them to check out who doubles and who blanks. Essentially, we have one blank, which is 34 for Spurs. And all the rest, there's no more blanks. And a bunch of teams double in 34, and another bunch of teams double in 37. There's no cross section of the two, so there are no teams that double in 34 and 37. We only have Chelsea and Spurs who double in 37 and double in 35 and or 36. So that is something to consider for your playoff plans, but also we'll talk about that more when we get closer to those doubles. As for the international break, we have listed all the potential injuries or knocks that we have gathered. The big one is Andy Robertson, who came off with a potential ankle injury. Crystal Palace's Munoz came off, but the how should I put this? The prepared Colombian journalists didn't ask after the game what his injury was, so we know nothing until Crystal Palace release a statement potentially on Friday. Kerkez Milos had a knock and was sitting out the Kosovo game last night, but I think he should be fine based on the info I have. Matty Cash back on the injury and is out for a few weeks. Kyle Walker, supposedly a game time decision, but it's a hamstring injury, so it could be anything. Sam Johnston out for the rest of the season. Stones, Nunez, and Akanji all are carrying knocks. Stones came off after starting the game this week. Nunez and Akanji were sent home early from their respective camps. Luis Miley was injured in the under-21s and is supposedly out for 6 weeks, which is essentially rest of the season. Maguire got sent home with a knock as well, and Willie Bowley got subbed with a knock. So who out of these is fantasy relevant?
I mean, obviously Robertson sticks out. I know there was a mad dash for Tsimikas yesterday when news came down that Robertson's knock. Yeah, I think we talked about it in our private chat. I think Gomez probably benefits the most, but Simi could get a look, and obviously he's usually pretty damn good when he does start. So he's a good punt to have. I take all of the City knocks with a a huge mound of salt, given the fact that they're playing Arsenal in a big game, and you know how tricky they are during the international break. I'm not going to believe it until I see it. So,
Yeah.
Jeannie, anything on the Maguire injury?
It seems he's going for a scan actually, but on the next page we'll see that a certain someone's going to be returning next week. I wanted to add to Munez, or however you pronounce it, that it was just precautionary, so he should be all good for the weekend. Another interesting thing about Robertson, I would say, like, if you can hold Tsimikas, or however you say it as well, they play Sheffield midweek, so you could see Gomez start this weekend in the important game, and then if Robertson is out for like 2-3 weeks, Tsimikas come in, and maybe
Oh my God.
Gomez gives Konate a breather.
Tsimikas against Sheffield United would be heaven on earth.
Yeah, I could see something like that,
Yeah.
because Konate is also coming back from a injury, and they're going to need him for the run-in. So if Kwanash doesn't go and they want to use Gomez there, or even Gomez at right back because he's pretty versatile, then I could see Tsimikas getting that kind of game. Put him on the set pieces and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's a good shout. So yeah, obviously, if he doesn't start this weekend, don't drop. Hold him for
Unless you have
the
to.
midweek fixture. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a late game, so it's going to be tricky. It's the penultimate game, isn't it? After before the big City Arsenal game.
I have I have Konate and Simi in one league, and so I'm just starting one of them. Using the others cover.
I'm sure you have some Arsenal.
Yeah.
As well,
No,
so
for sure. Yeah, I got Gabriel and Kiwi and everybody else.
But you're not so you're not planning to start an Arsenal defender intentionally, right?
I for the most part have better options. I think I'm not afraid to start either of them, to be honest. I mean, the last matchup was pretty cagey, and obviously kept a clean sheet. I'm not expecting it here, but I mean, I think they're going to be busy, and I don't see City scoring more than a goal, maybe two. So I'm not dreading it like I would maybe a lot of other defenders. So
you're not you're planning to start one of the Liverpool boys, but can pivot to an Arsenal defender. That's actually a decent shout. I'd much rather an Arsenal defender than a City defender at this point.
Yeah, 100%. And we've been playing very well away from home, so I don't expect a City clean sheet either.
Yeah,
I think it'll be a pretty high scoring game. But honestly, I'm putting all my money on Arsenal this one.
I could see a 1-1, but we'll see. It's tricky fixture. We always just gift them goals. So if we don't do that, I think we have a pretty good shot. But we'll see.
It revokes last season's same fixture,
which was brutal.
Which was absolutely brutal, and even like Arsenal were in a patchy form before that, much worse than they are now. So so could be nothing, but definitely at the back of Arsenal fans' minds, I'm sure.
Broke the hoodoo earlier this season, thankfully. So
that's good. Yeah. Okay, so players back during or at the end of the international break or a week after. Supposedly Trent, Jota, Cunha, Gusto, Martinelli, Lisandro Martinez, and Van der Ven. I have no idea who put him there.
That was me. I put the last two there.
I mean, Martinez is worth talking about, but not sure what Van der Ven brings to the table.
Maybe with the doubles.
The triple game week. All those 4 points he could get
I mean, yeah, triple game week.
It's triple. He could get double digits. That's true.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But are you gonna hold
long hold
for seven games for that 12-pointer in the
I'm
triple
sure
game
there's
week?
some Spurs fans holding him from now. So
I mean,
Oh.
probably.
That's true. He might not even be on the wire in most leagues.
What's the latest on Martinelli?
I
saw
touch and go.
Touch and go. Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
someone. I saw it in the Discord Team News channel, which is a great way to plug our Inner Circle Discord that you can join if you're a member of the Inner Circle. And it's where it's at. It's whatever you expected from the Twitter community, you can get on the Discord. And there was a tweet, like an official, kind of official looking tweet, or a in the know tweet, saying that Martinelli didn't have surgery, which was weird because I have never heard that he had a surgery. So
yeah, it's weird. A lot of accounts came out and said that he didn't have a surgery, but I never saw the initial rumor in which he did. So yeah, from everything I can gather, he is at least going to be back to make the squad, but there's just some questions as to whether or not he starts. And it might just be some mind games for the City game. So I think it's 50-50 if he starts. He's a tricky one, obviously, because it's late and you want to. He usually plays pretty well against City. His pace is pretty treacherous on the counter against a high line like City. So you want to play him if he does, but I would have cover just in case. He scored off the bench last time we played him. So it's not terrible if you have to play him off the bench, although you'd want better options. So I think he's 50-50. We'll see if any training picks come out, but I think they're going to keep the lineup pretty close to their chest this weekend. So I doubt we'll get many rumors.
What about Jesus? Sorry, go ahead, Ginny.
Oh, I was going to say, would you rather start Martinelli from the bench over an Arsenal defender if it came push to shove?
Ooh, I might be faced with that choice. That's a tricky one. Depends on what the matchup was like.
Okay.
Yeah, if I needed, if I was down like 3 and that was the only player left, and I needed like a solid 4 or 5, I think I'd play someone like Gabriel Magalhaes rather than hoping for Martinelli to get off the bench. If I needed maybe a bit more points, then maybe I'd think about Martinelli coming off the bench and nicking an attacking return. But yeah, that's a tough one.
And what about Jesus?
Oh, Jesus is fine from all accounts. I didn't go back with Brazil. I've seen some training pics from him just staying in Arsenal and training. I think he'll be good to go. The question is whether he's just favored tactically, because I think we've figured out the past few times we played against City in the Community Shield and then at the Emirates that playing Kai up top is a good way to win aerial duels and to get at City. So I doubt that he starts. I'm not depending on him in any league. It'd be I guess a pleasant surprise, but I'm not expecting him to start. But I think, and we'll talk about it later, I think he will get a fair amount of starts for the season, though.
Okay, yeah. Let's circle back when we talk about our ranks. And this is now. We are talking about our ranks now. So rather than going through top 10s and whatever, I thought the best way would be to sort of engage each of us through players that we like more than the consensus rank at first, and then we'll go to players that we like less than the consensus. So, Jeannie, let's start with you. Tell us who you like more than anyone else.
I picked Semenyo as the first one. So for him, I've with this news of Cine having an injury, I'm liking his chances to go 90 more and more each week. He's gone 90 in his last 4 games, but before that, he was always.
He went 90 with Sinisterra on the bench as well, so I think he's
this even helps a little more.
Yeah.
He's been slowly like improving his output as well. Double digits in all of the last starts since February, except for that real shocker against Sheffield United, 4 points. But other than that, yeah, the dude, he's one of their biggest attacking threats, and Solanke is in good form. So I'm really high on what he could do rest of season. Bournemouth have a pretty friendly schedule, and they double as well, 34. Next I got Onana, but not the United Onana. I just got it to I had to clarify that. I like him especially for the double coming up in 34. I think he's one of those to get you like 20 points. I mean, he's the biggest definition of a wild card when it comes to defensive mids. Sometimes he'll get you negative 0.5. The other time you'll see him get like 12 or 14 ghost points just out of nowhere. Based on his upcoming fixtures like Bournemouth, Newcastle, Burnley, and then Chelsea and Forest and Liverpool, all leading up to 34 double. These are some games that he should be at least good cover to hold and use. And then after 34, you could kind of see what you want to do with him. And then Højlund, of course,
Sorry, how does he stack up to our go-to defensive midfielder, one Casemiro?
Oh, Mr. Casemiro. That's like Casemiro being injured now. I'm not too sure what this injury that he has is or how serious it is.
It's old age.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised.
It's a bad diet, it seems like, as well.
Yeah, very bad.
He looks like he's put on the pounds. But his ghosting is unquestionable. Casemiro, he does the job most games. If he's out for a while, then I definitely drop him for Onana. I'm not holding a defensive mid, even Casemiro, for more than like a week of injury.
Yeah. I like Onana as well. He's been his last 2 starts have been ghosting very well, 9.5 and 12.5. So yeah, I picked him up as well, and you'll see that he's one of my waiver wire picks. So I like that. I saw that you dropped him in our league before I had a chance to pick him back up. You did as well, so
yeah,
fair play.
That was I was really nervous someone would grab him, so I was like, I'll drop Craig Dawson. Lastly, I got Højlund. I don't think that's a surprise. Dude's been balling out. Surprisingly, I know a lot of his goals are like, questionable, but he's still getting in those positions. He's getting the chances. Outside of Chelsea, Liverpool, and then Arsenal to close the season, they got a pretty friendly schedule with like Brentford, Bournemouth, Sheffield, Burnley, Palace, all in that mix. So I don't see a reason he can't continue to score. Even the likes of Chelsea and Liverpool are known to give up some goals here and there. So I do like him as kind of like a set and forget, like for 2 or 3. I wouldn't expect him to get like 15 plus each week, but the weeks he does score, looks like he's always hungry to get another one. And yeah, I guess I'm a little higher on him than the rest of you guys.
Yeah.
All right. Toddy, how about you?
I actually like all of Genie's picks as well. So I think they are decent ones. For some reason, I have no idea how or why United seem to get stuff done late in the season. So I think Højlund. Much rather Højlund than Rashford at this point. Mine are Joe Gomez. I think he's running his best season since the title-winning season where he partnered Van Dijk all season. He's been lights out at left back, and he's been decent at centre back as well. So I expect him to start a fair few games. Just because Konate is made of glass, and he can play at right back, left back, and centre back as well. So yeah, Michael Olise, I know Genie, you had him in the trade out column, and I don't blame you, honestly, but I have some optimism that with the new management and new views on how to manage players and how to manage minutes for players, Olise will not end up re-injuring himself again rest of the season, and in which case I think he's still within the starts cutoff for our Ghost Point Hunters, and he's the top ghoster in the Premier League this season.
Per game,
yeah, per game he's lights out. So even if he, like, we have 9 games left, even if he starts like 4 games rest of the season, he should be winning you matchups. And the last one is a bit left field, Estupinian. I know we all have him, and we are all frustrated with him.
Can't wait to hear this.
But honestly, it's just hope, rather than anything else. I don't know if you've seen Robbie post his expected numbers graph on Twitter after we unveiled the consensus ranks, and like after like 45 up to like 100, most players are projected to score the same. So it actually comes down to personal preference, and I've been burned by a lot of Brighton this season, including Estupinian. But I think he still has the highest upside from the sort of middling mid-table defenders. And at the end of the day, you're gonna we've talked about this all season, that the streaming defender pool is so much below what we expected it to be all season, that even if Estupinian doesn't pan out, you're still probably better off betting on him going back to what he used to do than dropping and trying to stream that spot.
I certainly hope you're right. Because, I have Estupinian, and I've been nothing but disappointed for the most part. Olise is a tricky one. I thought about trading him in, mostly with the double and 34 in mind. But, they have no incentive really, because they're safe basically from relegation. They have no incentive to rush him back like Roy did the last time, which is why he's in the current predicament. So I think it's just super risky to bet on him coming back and starting, I think, immediately. And there's such limited time that it's a tricky one. But yeah, if we get a better sense in the next couple of weeks that he's going to be getting starts, then he's a no-brainer. All right. So I was told that you all can see me again, so I just wanted to quickly shout out to the beautiful Hungarian windbreaker that Totti was kind enough to gift me last time I saw him in London. So I was hoping that
it looks very good on you.
It's beautiful, honestly. It's got that old school early 90s windbreaker throwback vibe as well, and it fits perfectly. So I love it. Anywho, so my picks pretty on the nose for me. Declan Rice, I'm ashamed that I don't have him in any league. I'm trying to rectify that as we speak. He was put on left-sided corners not too long ago, and he's been killing it with them. And he's also been able to get forward a bit more now that Jorginho and I think ultimately Partey will be playing the more deep-lying midfield role. And so he's been great. Arsenal double in 34, so he should be a monster in that fixture. So I like trying to get in Rice. It helps you a little bit that they're playing City. So good luck with that. Like I said, I'm trying to get him in this week, and I'm having to throw the kitchen sink. So we'll see. Sarabia I've been a day one of Pablo, as we all know. With Neto going out for the rest of the season, I think he's pretty nailed on, although it'll be interesting to see what happens when Hwang and Cunha are back. But I still think Sarabia has a role because he's proven week in, week out that he's a great attacking asset for Wolves. Plus they also double in 34, so he should be a hot commodity. Chris Wood, I'm not usually a fan, but I picked him up in a few leagues and he's been great. Passes the eye test. Obviously Nuno likes him because every time he's back he immediately starts. He got a nice goal against Luton last time out before he came off with a minor knock, but international break should have done him good. And I think he's a decent forward three rest of season, although they, of course, don't have increased fixtures or any doubles. But he's always capable of giving you a monster, as he's shown throughout the season. So in decent matchups, I like Wood probably more than other folks. So that's your lot. Let's move on.
Also, supposedly there was a personal issue with Awoni and an injury as well. So looking like Wood's pretty nailed on unless he gets injured. So a very good shot.
Yeah, Origi surprising as well. Played him in the blank. And I think he got 7.5 or 9.5 ghosts, and he was unlucky not to score as well. So he's not a terrible streamer if you're in desperate need for a forward. But let's go to the other side of the coin. Players we like less than others. I will start out with my namesake.
Is that new?
No, not at all. But I figured I'd reiterate it. Harvey he's made of glass. He's not going to start again rest of season. All of these teasers that he's back in training or whatever, somebody in front of him gets an injury. It's not going to happen, folks. Just give it up. And even when he does play, he only scores well off the bench. He's the João Pedro from the first 6 months of the season. Plus he's super goal dependent, and Newcastle are the weirdest team this season. So I just think everybody should give up. That's a great segue. And Jack Grealish.
I think the best sort of the most damning indictment of Harvey Barnes is that I don't think I even ranked him in the top 150. So yeah.
I thought I was going to get pelters because of that, so I thought about putting him at 150, but nobody else did either. So I felt vindicated enough and safe enough to not even put him in there.
I mean, we talked about him last episode that the only reason he might be considered was the potential injury to Gordon, which turned out to be a fake news. So yeah, I don't think he's a lot of things can change until next season, but at current form and position on the roster chart, he's just propping up numbers.
Yep. Jack Grealish in a similar boat. Pep just doesn't seem to favor him this season. Plus, he's had a lot of different knocks. I guess the only thing going in his favor is that the fixtures will come thick and fast, with City still in the FA Cup, Champions League, and in the title race. So he might get some pity starts because of that, but not enough to get whatever you'd have to get give to get him because people still value him like he's Aston Villa, Jack Grealish. But yeah, I don't see it for him this season. Isak, I think, has just been 12 with the goal, and Newcastle, I don't think have any doubles, and so I think he's just kind of overvalued. He's still a good player, don't get me wrong, but he's also injury prone, goal dependent, and Newcastle are just, can't make heads or tails of him. So I think he's a bit inflated, although I still like him as a player in real life. So that's my lot. Jeannie, what do you got?
I'm going to start out with Watkins. That's a bit more of a controversial one. He's been obviously incredible this year. I think one of the top scoring players. He's number 2 overall, just behind your boy Saka. But I mean, this is the rest of season ranks, not how well have you done so far. He's coming up against City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Brighton. Some tough games in there as well. He's never been one to ghost. He hasn't scored or assisted in last 2 games. Villa are so hit or miss. I mean, they tied West Ham, who aren't really lighting up the world, and Spurs, they lost 4-0 to recently, which, that's never a good thing. So I'm just not too high on him. I think that you could get a lot better players given what he's done this season, and a lot of people will still believe in him. He doesn't double either. Yeah, literally the perfect trade high. You could get multiple players, probably could reuse him in a deal for Mr. Cole Palmer, if that's at all possible anymore. But I mean, him plus someone else, I would try that. That's a good option there. I just don't think he'll perform the same. One that might hit hard to you two is Trent. I just don't.
I see it. Yeah.
I just don't see him. He will start. He'll do his thing, but I do think we're going to see a lot of early subs. Given Bradley's doing well, if Robertson returns back, you have Gomez there as well. He might only start one of the 2 in the double. I'm fine, obviously, playing him from the bench in a 2-game week, but he's also going to miss probably this weekend and potentially Sheffield. So that's 2 more games that he's out as well. So it's just at that point, the games are just running out for him. That's kind of all it is there. Not really a knock to his scoring. And Nkunku should be a free agent in every single league. That's honestly it. He's nowhere near training, it seems. And once he returns, I don't see why he'd get a spot in that starting 11 unless half those attackers go down or get suspended, which, I mean, that part's possible. But I just think he's too far back this year. He's still young, and he's gonna be a huge player for Chelsea. It's just not going to be this year, and there's no need to kind of risk an injury and make him miss preseason or something.
That's right. I think he's in a similar boat to Olise in the sense that, Chelsea have no incentive to rush him back. Might as well keep him in wool until next season.
Let the new manager back him in.
Another new manager.
That's right. Toddy, what are your thoughts on Trent? I totally get what Jeannie is saying. Do you think he comes back in as a midfielder, given how good Bradley has been, or do you think he'll get some starts at right back? What do you think?
I think he gets the right back spot back, and I think that with the Klopp farewell tour happening, I just don't see him not starting and not playing most of the games. Like, if he's injured, fine, yeah, that's another thing. But once he's back to full fitness, which I'm sure that this 3-week window has helped, he should. I think he should be starting. I don't see so. I have Conor Bradley in my players we like less than others for the exact same reason. I think Bradley will play in the Europa League, I think Bradley will come in at times, but I have if TAA is healthy for like the midweek, I have Bradley starts at like 3 starts max rest of the season.
I think I just saw somewhere he might be good to go for United. That's
So
what
it's
I'm
next weekend
reading now.
then.
Yeah, so he'll miss. Like, I mean, you never know with Sheffield; they might be keeping that one close to their chest, but for sure this weekend he's not available.
Yeah. So yeah, and even if and now I'm pivoting to my players. Even if Trent's not available, I don't think like Bradley has done amazingly, but the rest of the defense will dictate if Gomez plays at right back or Bradley does. So yeah, I'm a bit lower on Bradley than everyone else. And I have high hopes for Trent just because of the emotional and sort of push to get the most trophies or to be there and thereabouts for the Europa League and the Premier League as well. So yeah, that's why I have Trent high and Bradley low. The other 2 players I have lower than most is Ethan Pinnock, who I have no idea why everyone's so high on him. He
Agreed.
was utter shit before he got injured, and
100%.
and then he's had a long injury layoff. I doubt he's a viable player at this point.
He's definitely droppable. I agree
Amen.
with you there.
Yeah. I dropped him ages ago. I'm
Yeah.
shocked that people picked him up and are holding him. It's like, man, look at
Yeah.
his scores. Terrible.
Yeah, exactly. So
And they have no defense left.
we're gonna have to do a deeper dive into what happened to his scoring during the off season, because obviously he's one of the few players who has so far been a very steady ghoster, and he's fully lost it this season. So we're gonna have to do some digging there
Autopsy,
on what's happened there, whether we can trust him to go back to his ways, but not this season.
Gusto gang, surprising. Let's hear it.
Yeah, Gusto gang.
Okay.
Gonna get assassinated in a drive-by, it seems like.
Yeah, the only reason I was happy to put him in is because Draft Lad is
How
currently
insufferable he's been about it. Yeah.
he's on the other side of the world, so he's definitely sleeping now in Thailand. So he's not gonna slide into the chat, hopefully, and try to dox me or something. So yeah, I've just been very low on Chelsea as a whole, as we have come to. It's almost as recurring as Ryan's Barnes and Grealish hate, my Chelsea hate, but yeah,
Even with the fixtures?
Even with the fixtures, I think without an attacking return or a clean sheet, he's nothing. And although they've shown a bit more something, I don't want to put a label on what Chelsea have been showing, but we've seen the false dawns even this season with Pochettino, that they had 2 good games and then they were utter crap for 5 games after that. So I'm not believing, and I'm not. The only player I want is Cole Palmer from the Chelsea team, and nobody else.
Well,
Fair.
I'll disagree with that, but I'm with you on the whole Gusto is way too overhyped.
So who do you want from the Chelsea team?
Gallagher and Jackson are the 2. Other than that,
I'm not sold on Jackson.
I mean, Gallagher, I can get behind, but Jackson,
Gallagher, I like. Yeah.
Jackson's
Jackson.
more so the fixtures. I think like if they're gonna score, like he has to at least be somewhat involved. Like at least like maybe like 40% of their goals rest of season or something.
That's fair. But this again, Jackson is a great segue into our next slide with interesting players we want to highlight, and I want to segue into my second slot, which is yellow card suspension players who have been who it seems that we all have kind of been sleeping on these yellow card suspensions when we did our ranks a bit, and. Just for context, Nico Jackson and Bruno Guimaraes have one yellow card. They're one yellow card away from a 2-game suspension if they get that yellow before game week 33. So in one of the next 3 games, then they're out for 2 weeks, which is essentially at that point about a third of the rest of the season. And Darwin Nunez and Bruno Fernandes are 2 yellow cards away from the same suspension. Obviously, maybe 2 yellow cards in 3 games is a bit of a stretch, and both players could be sort of persuaded on trying not to get a yellow, but both players, for different reasons, are kind of still likely to get those yellows. Darwin just because of his overzealous nature, and Bruno because of
It's a rascal.
yeah, and Bruno because of his over bitchy nature.
I originally thought it was Bruno Fernandes, but yeah, I guess it's good to.
It was both Brunos.
Oh, I thought that was a typo. That's why I corrected it as Bruno. I was like, Bruno S. What the hell is that?
Bruno's.
Okay, yeah. All right, you should Bruno times 2 would have solved that.
That's fair.
Easily.
That's fair. Yeah, it's going to be
All right.
interesting and sad to see Newcastle if this happens with now Miley out for possibly rest of the season and potentially Bruno Guimaraes out as well. How that midfield looks like for Newcastle with those 2 out. So
Harvey Barnes, obviously.
Holding midfielder extraordinaire.
That's right. The guy's a specimen. I mean, he'll be fine.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah. You want to shout out Pascal and Liverpool attackers?
Yeah, I just want to talk about Pascal Gross because I feel that we have literally almost never mentioned him.
No.
Like he never gets mentioned,
player,
and
basically.
And at this point, he's a
insane.
top 5 player. He has been absolutely insane. Whatever Brighton, however shit Brighton have been this season, Pascal Gross has been it. And I wanted to say ticking along, but dude, he's been ticking along on 20 points every game.
Yeah,
he's incredible.
Like that.
He trying to get him in.
He has
Yeah,
been.
that's mission impossible.
Yeah, I know.
And just to think that this dude has been playing on a 1-year rolling contract for like 3 seasons, and I remember when they brought in Trossard, we were thinking that that's going to be the end of Pascal Gross. Then we kind of thought that it was going to be a timeshare, and then now Trossard is gone and Gross is ever present. Like he can play. He's one of those guys, and I know that neither of you is a big Football Manager player, but they have these like pictures of where the players can play, and it goes from red to green when the player is natural at a certain position, and red when he can't play it. And he's just like all green. He can play right back, left back, center mid, attacking mid, winger, anywhere they need him, he can play, and he will get you ghosts everywhere.
Yeah, one of my biggest regrets is not getting him in somehow. But I think we've all been burned by him in the past.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he was so touch and go in terms of not knowing if he'd start, yada yada yada. But De Zerbi, like you said, puts him in wherever the hell he wants. So he's been nailed on and just nasty. Plus with Brighton doubling in 37, he's going to be a freaking monster. So I just hope I'm not against him that week, but
most likely you are.
Yes, pretty much, yeah.
At least somewhere.
Yeah. And I wanted to shout out Liverpool attackers and just wanted to mention them.
All 9 of them.
Just to talk about them a bit. What you guys think on who to target or sort of who to look at, because Jota supposedly back soon, and Hakpo down in the gutters. Obviously, I think we all
Gakpo
agree.
needs to be dropped.
Yeah. Obviously, we all agree that Hakpo can and needs to be dropped, even if he's the only healthy attacker, probably. But where do you see the Nunez, Jota, Luis Diaz minutes falling? Rather starts rather than minutes, because minutes doesn't help us.
Darwin's fit. I think he's the most nailed, right?
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what
so.
I
Yeah.
was say.
Yeah.
Well,
I
Salah,
agree.
obviously.
Yeah.
But I think Diaz is going to be the shock one to rotate. People are thinking it'll be Jota and Nunes, but I think it will be Jota Diaz. I'd grab Jota wherever I could. I think the dude's an incredible player. Whenever he plays, and he's one of those. I'm stuck in a gamble, and it's a last game. They're playing like a somewhat easy team. I'm okay starting him from the bench. 34. If he gets 20 minutes off the bench and then another 30 minutes off the bench, I'm more than happy to roll him out for those 50 minutes, thinking he might get a goal, an assist, something like that. He is a good asset to them. He's going to be huge for the run-in if they really want to contend for the title. And Diaz has been doing decent in Fantrax and real life. He's just I don't know. I just think Jota's a better player than him.
I think tactically, he's a very different player. So we have said, and Sanji said this on a pod a few weeks back, that Jota is actually the best scoring Liverpool attacker
Over
per
Salah?
minute, on per minutes base, and for goals and for fantasy points as well.
I could see that.
So Jota has evolved from his sort of left winger days at Wolves. I think he's evolved into the best finisher of Liverpool. So therefore he cannot be ignored. And Diaz,
pick him up where you can.
Yeah, definitely pick him up where you can. Diaz, it's a strange one because everyone will be comparing him to Mane, and he's obviously not the same player. And the big thing missing from Diaz's game is goals. He's doing a lot of good stuff, and he's opening up a lot of opportunities for others. But goals are missing, and I think with this setup, obviously Nunes has kicked on a bit more than early in the season, which is helping mitigate for Diaz's lack of goals. But Diaz needs to chip in much more. So I think we will see Jota a bit more rest of the season. There's a good question here in the chat: Sobo or Jota rest of the season?
I'll say Sissoko, but I'm not huge on Sissoko, to be honest.
Yeah, I think our ranks have Sobo higher than Jota, but yeah, it's close.
It's squarely for me. It's squarely dependent on if Szoboszlai has sets, if because Trent's still out or McAllister isn't fancied. If somehow Szoboszlai has sets, I think that, and the fact that he's might be a bit more nailed. Puts him over Jota for me. If not, then yeah, I think it's Jota for the upside.
Yeah, I think Sobo is definitely more nailed. I think he's definitely getting more starts than Jota the rest of the season, but his production has really fallen off a cliff since October.
Yeah.
And that injury was longer than expected. So yeah, it's closer. I think it's going to be close points wise, points per start or like points from starting games. I think Sobo will take it, and that helps. So at the end of the day, your roster construction will be the deciding factor in this comparison. I think if you can suffer the bench spots for Jota, then he might bring you more actual wins than Sobo does.
Yeah. Plus, like now it seems like Soboslai, Klopp's not afraid to hook him early, so
Yeah,
we could see.
yeah.
less and less minutes.
Elliot
Yeah.
has been doing really well lately, so it's definitely a bit more of a worry for minutes for Sobo. Yep. So that's enough on Liverpool attackers.
Genie, what you got, man?
I'll start off with a United boy, Wan-Bissaka. I was able to pick him up as a free agent in most of my leagues. I'm not going to say he's going to light the world on fire. I don't think any United defender's ever going to do that, but he's definitely a good ad. He's one of those who does pretty good in the tough games just because of the way he plays. He's more of a defense first kind of guy. And with Chelsea and Liverpool coming up, I'm not opposed to playing him there. Plus, like I said, I highlighted the United schedule outside of those two games with Bournemouth, Sheffield, Burnley. I think he's one of those sneaky guys. You don't even have to trade him in. You can kind of just pick him up. He's only 37% rostered. And he's just a good one to have, whether you're going to use him in those tough games or not. The double game week could be huge for him, especially with United fighting for top 4. They'll actually be pushing for something as opposed to just sitting back and doing nothing. And like Toddy said, they're just somehow finding a way to do it. And even as a fan, it's shocking me. I thought we were down and dead, honestly.
I mean, you're still in 6th. Let's be real.
Yeah, but it's Spurs. They're pulling a Spursy act to end the season right now. So we'll see how that one goes.
I mean, against Chelsea, I can see it, but I'd be so afraid of United either doing United by keeping a clean sheet against Liverpool, like they did in the first game they played in the Premier League, or just shipping 7, which they are absolutely capable of doing. So yeah,
But I was looking at his
Wan-Bissaka would be
in that Liverpool game.
Which one? The 7-0?
The FA, no, the 4-3 FA Cup game, and he even got hooked early his first start back, and I think he racked up like 10 or something ghost points. So it's just all that defense first kind of nonsense that he's all about. He can't dribble to save his life, honestly, but it's just those kind of points that he likes to rack up.
Yeah.
Next I got Gavardiol and Kyle Walker. I know those are pretty low on everyone's lists, but I think they could be decent value. Definitely not against Arsenal unless you're really stuck in a bind. But Guardiol, he's done okay in terms of ghosts this season. He's hit or miss. Some games he could ghost for like 10, 11 ghost points, and the next game he'll get you -1 against Luton or something like that. I streamed him that week. Horrendous. Same goes for Walker. I think Walker's been a little bit better in recent weeks. He still is the kind of guy who could get 8 with a clean sheet, but as someone who rosters Doku, I like rostering one of these guys as late cover for the upcoming few games. Just because I'm not happy to start them, but I'm not afraid to start them because Doku off the bench against Arsenal doesn't sound too appealing to me. And same as when they go against Aston Villa, I'm not too big of a fan. Honestly, there's not too much more to say on those guys, but Luton attackers, I know that's a big one based off their schedule. It's horrendous, as well as less games. But I'm not looking to actively, drop them. Doughty is a trade out for me if you could get someone of similar value with more games. But
Who would you look for Doughty?
Oh man, if I could get a Declan Rice, that would be my happiest kind of trade.
Decent.
They're both pretty close.
Yeah, the problem is Rice is up there and points per game as well. He's like I think over 10 as well. So
yeah, I think
you can't really play the Doughty's a better asset card.
Yeah, I know that Jeannie, you won't agree with this because of your convictions, but I kind of maybe do McNeil as well. Doughty for McNeil.
I would still prefer Doughty, even with or without those convictions. I just think Luton are a better attacking team.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that one
close.
point
It's
is
close.
really closer.
Facing him in the double.
McNeil.
Yeah,
probably facing him somewhere as well.
I have him everywhere. So you guys, if you're playing. We're not in a league together. Neither of us are in a league together this season.
No, that's why we can have the no leagues together WhatsApp chat, which is a nice thing to have.
Yeah. Exactly.
Doughty's a tough one.
I'm glad you brought up Luton attackers because I'm struggling. I want to keep hold of Doughty, but in these Rice talks, if I'm forced to deal.
I would take Rice over Doughty.
Yeah, the problem is I just don't think I'm going to be able to make it happen 1-for-1. And when it gets to that, I'm just like, I don't know, because Doughty can still drop points like nobody's business. So I don't want to overpay either. The Luton attacker I'm thinking of, because I have him in I think every league, is Ogbene, who's just kind of fallen off a cliff. Plus, there's rumors of an injury, so I'm trying to deal him out.
I would say, like, for me, I have Ogbene, and if he's injured and he's not starting versus Spurs, I'm probably gonna just drop him, to be honest. Unless like I'm stuck with just one forward in that league. If he's like my forward 3 or 4, there's no need to hold him. They go up against Spurs and then Arsenal, then they got Bournemouth, and then after that they got City. It's just no double.
Yeah, you can probably get him back as well if you need to. Carlton Morris has been dropped in one of my leagues as well.
I have Morris, but I'm on the fence about. One that I'm starting and never gonna give up is Mr. Ross Barkley.
That's fair.
Yeah, he's fixture proof, as he's shown.
Yeah.
But I just gotta hope that Ogbene balls out against Spurs and then gives him a bit more value. But if that injury keeps him out, I'm gonna be, I think, forced to drop him at least in one league. So
that's what I'm thinking as well.
We have a question on the McNeil thing, whether you want to trade McNeil out to get Gallagher.
I think Alchemy also asked about Diaby versus CHO. I prefer CHO there because Diaby is so unreliable. I just don't see them starting. Plus the Villa fixtures are kind of rough.
I think
not to say that Forest.
Both
streamers.
At best.
Yeah.
McNeil versus Gallagher. That's a
for me. It's
tough
Gallagher.
one. I guess it depends on. Depends for me. It depends. They're so close that it depends on your matchups in 34 versus 36 and 37. If you're in a playoff league, I think it's Gallagher. If you're not and you need GW34 firepower, I think it's McNeil.
Yeah. They're close. They're definitely close. think. Yeah.
All right. I guess it's down to me then. I put Arsenal waivers here because they play so many fixtures. I think they were absolutely screwed by the schedule makers. I think they play 4 games in a 2-week stretch, before the North London derby where Tottenham plays 0, which I don't know how that's logistically possible. But this just to say that I think Arteta is going to have to rotate a little bit. So you're going to get the random, I don't want to say Smith Rowe start because that would take a fucking act of God at this point. But maybe a Vieira. I think Partey is going to get some looks. Zinchenko and Kiwi is going to be interesting.
Would you drop either of them, either one that's not starting? So if
I dropped Zinchenko in the league where I had both, and I'm kind of regretting it. But I think he's the more droppable one. Although paradoxically, I think he might get the easier fixtures and possibly be the better fantasy asset because of that. But that's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Tomiyasu is probably going to get some starts because Ben White has not been rested 1 second. Although it's nice that he's not playing with England anymore. So yeah, that's just a kind of plug for watching their lineups over the next several weeks because I think they're going to get some random starts. Spurs, if you're in a playoff league, and I hate that, Jeannie, that we are in a playoff league, so I have to think about this nonsense. But for playoff leagues, obviously the double in 37, and then I think they finish with either is it Luton or Sheffield. It's just to say that they have a great schedule the last 2 weeks, which is perfect for a playoff league in which that's going to be your semifinal and your
Sheffield.
final. Yeah. So for playoff leagues, I'd be pumping in offers for Spurs. And then I put Liverpool defenders here because as we've touched on, I think a couple of times, there's going to be also a decent amount of rotation, and they've all been pretty good. So the Kwanzas, the Simis, the Konates who've been dropped are going to be good ones to pick up over the run-in. So just wanted to plug them as well. So all right, we can move on. All right, streamers. All right, I will go first. Going all the way back full circle. Everton Onana. As I mentioned, he's been ghosting almost double digits the last 2 game weeks. Bournemouth's usually a pretty good fixture, so I like him. And then, as Jeannie mentioned as well, he's a longer-term hold for that GW34. Mepham has been scoring pretty well. I know Senesi is on the mend, but I think he's still going to be out at least for this weekend. So I like Mepham to clean up the bullshit McNeil crosses all game. So I think he's going to ghost pretty well. Origi, like I said, has surprised me. Got nearly double-digit ghosts last week and was unlucky not to get a goal. Palace's defense is going to be in disarray with potentially Munoz and Johnstone out. So I think at the City ground, I think Forest could do some work.
Similarly, Nico Dominguez probably a good shout.
Potentially. Yeah, could do. The Forest wingbacks are tricky. I don't really trust either of them, but they at the same time on their day can haul. So they're a flyer, the Toffolo and Nico this weekend. I put Chelsea defenders because there's so many on the wire, and who knows who's going to start. But in addition to Badiashile, Colwell, and Chalobah, you also have Cucurella, Chilwell, Gusto, Disasi, Thiago Silva. I mean, dear God.
It's going to be
that's going to be a highly anticipated lineup, all for them to concede at least 2 to Burnley, guaranteed. So, yeah, that's your lot from me.
I had 3 that I want to mention. Ryan already mentioned Neco Williams. He had a great international break, and he's facing Palace's inept attack. So I expect him to do well. Sven Botman is out for the rest of the season, so Jamal Lascelles is probably nailed on at the centre back spot for Newcastle. West Ham have really been the Jekyll and Hyde team of the season so far. They can disappear and have to come back from 2-0 down against Sheffield United or whatever, but they can also put up great numbers as well. I expect Newcastle to put up a good fight against them, and Lascelles to go decently, and then some decent fixtures, and the double in 34 should keep him on roster rest of the season. And Ollie McBurney versus Fulham. Fulham also similarly to West Ham, strange in the sense that they can have a good defensive performance and then have some big lapses as well. So all Leno rosters will attest to Fulham's potential defensive frailties. So McBurney should ghost well. Really, just some decent ghosting streamers from me. Genie?
I've got Lamina against Aston Villa. That's one that, like, he's kind of in that Onana mold, but I would prefer Onana if both are available, I'd say. Lamina hasn't been the best in the last 2 weeks, but we know he had that stretch of some incredible run back in, I think it was like December, January, something like that. But again, he's coming up on that double game week 34, so he's one to think about. I've got Utara out there. I keep saying that anyone from Bournemouth who starts and is available is like a must add. So he's someone I think is going to start over Toddy's national boy Kirkes this weekend. So
possibly, yeah.
Yeah, based off his last 2 games, I would say Kirkes versus Utara. I think this weekend at least goes to him based off recent performances. Mudryk is one that he's done well recently. I don't know how likely it is that he starts. Sterling has been nothing short of absolute garbage, and that's me putting it at a PG kind of rating. So Mudryk should start over him. Is he going to? It remains to be seen. But against Burnley, you could do a lot worse for streamers. I like Lerma as well. This guy, he's again similar to Lamina Onana mold. If I had to rank them, I'd go Onana, Lerma, and then Lamina. I think he has double-digit goals in 2 of his last 3 games, and he's coming up against Forest and Bournemouth. Some good fixtures for him. And then Mr. Dan Burn against West Ham. Like Toddy said, you don't know what kind of West Ham is going to show up. So
isn't he?
He's not the worst.
Isn't he injured? Am I making that up?
Dan Burn?
Yeah, I thought he had a knock. No?
No. He's
I saw
projected to start.
Yeah, I saw some tweets that had Lewis Hall and projected
against
11. So I just thought because he was injured, but maybe it's just delusion.
I assume Byrne will play left back, even with the injury to Botman, with Shar and Lascelles partnering. But if Byrne starts at center back, then against those random aerials to Antonio, who just jumps up with his eyes closed, not knowing where the ball is, could be some big points.
Football crosses.
Do you,
Yeah.
Ryan? Do you have any ideas on what's the sort of lowdown on which one of the Wolves defensive midfielders has a great game? Joao or Lemina, because they seem
Yeah,
to
I got
be.
I got a coin that I can flip if you need me to.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Man,
constant
it's
rotation.
Both of them
yeah.
have had amazing games.
Yeah, they go on stretches. Yeah, Lamina had that like 3 or 4 game stretch where he's scoring a goal every game, and then yeah, Gomez has those stretches as well. If I had to pick, I'd probably prefer Gomez slightly over Lamina, but that's not to say that Lamina can't go on another run, because eye test wise, he's been getting in dangerous positions. He's just not putting it in like he used to. But yeah, if I had to pick, I'd probably prefer Gomez.
Yeah. Okay, let's go on to.
All right. Yeah, we always get the question of how this little thing of ours started, and we never have the time, and so we figured over the international break we would address it. And so, I mean, Jeannie, you were there when it literally all started, so I don't know if you want to kick us off with how you got into the biz.
Yeah, so it was just I still remember I was just randomly, wanting to get more active in the fan tracks or fantasy soccer community. And I messaged the chaps asking if I could help out writing some articles for fan tracks, and they said sure, why not?
Weren't
And then
you? Didn't you have a short-lived like two article blog that you did as well?
It might have been 2.5, but yeah, it was really short lived. Just something to kind of show like what I could do, I guess, for the chaps to see.
Is this where your name Genie came about?
Yeah, I don't remember how that was chosen. If you want me to be brutally honest, I don't remember who picked it. I remember it wasn't me who came up with that name. That's all I remember. I just don't remember anything else about it. But the kick around, it started when I think it was just one day randomly Joe he just sent me a message out of nowhere. We've been talking about like, advice, this and that, and he's like this would be like a great thing to have like a Fan Tracks official pod. And then I kind of brought that idea to the chaps. Chap 2 in his beautiful voice was all for it. So we signed up and started doing it. And then as Chap 2 started to become in and out, me and Joe kind of were able to keep that going as well. I think Ryan and Toddy were on there as well quite a few times. I can't remember which one of you popped up first on that one.
I think I was there in the. There was as I was looking through the backlog, there was an interview series that you guys did, and I was there for the first interview that you guys did.
Yep.
In
still
the
remember.
first international break or something like that.
Talking about trades and players like stocks, I still remember that content.
Yeah. That was a good one.
I remember, listening to the kick around and then writing you guys a few times, and then I think there was some like Christmas thing in which you would pick a listener to come on, and I think I think I won that because I was so damning about, I want to say Ryan Sessegnon. I was just going off on a tangent because I think Joe had recommended Sessegnon and he got like a half point. So
that's Joe for you.
Yeah, exactly. He's incorrigible.
Was that before he recommended Brewster or after?
Brewster was like 12, I think, at the time. So
this was still when Ryan had that 20-digit name going on.
336201.
Well, I wouldn't be so loud in my indictment, Joey Bob.
Yeah. Oh my God, that is a throwback. I couldn't.
Yeah, I heard about that. Kept that under wraps.
Yeah, that was a real quiet one. When the home leagues were all on Twitter, those guys were asking for advice as well. I put myself as something, just out of random.
Joey, Bob, and then a few random numbers, if I remember correctly.
Like 5. It might have been something like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Glass houses.
Yeah, exactly. It was interesting to see that that chap one in his first article had both Pulisic and Anwar Al Massi featured
I know I like
as
them.
featured as new transfers into the league. So yeah, essentially we started writing and podding for fan tracks, and we felt that we probably would be more free in our creative ways if we did something on our own. So we did the first sort of. I love that we did the advent calendar in 2020 when nobody had any idea on what or who the Draft Society was. We did top scores, I think, top fan track scores ever, or something like that. We did that.
Forgot about
Still,
that.
still nobody knew who the Draft Society was, and then I think it was this very March international break that we did the unveiling of the Draft Society, and it has been epic ever since. So yeah, it was so. It's been going. We launched our first article March 20th, 2021.
Damn.
So we are
What
3.
article was it?
It was a random sort of waiver wire or something like that article. It was yeah. So we are just turning 3.
That's wild. And then obviously we started out with us and Joe and Chap 2 and Draft Your Thoughts, and then have subsequently brought on board Gavin and Robbie, and the latest addition has been Sanji, and it's been great. We've knocked those HR decisions out of the park, so it's
and I think the best part, which probably won't be appreciated by the 18 people listening right now as much as it is appreciated by us, is that as rocky as the first Draftapalooza was to make happen, it has been happening much more in this season and this year. So I think we've been able to evolve our online working relationships to like proper friendships. So which is the sort of main takeaway from the Draft Society, I think.
Yeah, that's definitely been the best part about it, obviously. I forgot to shout out the addition of Draft Loud, which obviously has been a game changer. He's always been such an authority in this field.
Fun fact, he was actually a late addition as well.
Yeah, very late.
Stand-in addition for
Draft Your Thoughts. Yeah.
It wasn't for Draft Your Thoughts. It was for Murph, who planned
Forgot about that.
planned the start of the season with, and then he unfortunately had to step away. Right. And then we shouted out, or we sent up the SOS to Draft Lad, and he's been manning the ship ever since.
Yeah, that toolkit's incredible.
The bat spotlight, yeah,
and but we shouldn't forget.
It's been awesome. It's obviously a ton of work. Oh yeah, Luke has been a baller. I love Luke, the energy.
He was one of the OGs.
So many guys. Yeah. It's time flies. Yeah, it's just forget about all the coming and going. But we've had a great group, and obviously the listeners are make us do what we do, because we're not making any money really, and it's still a lot of time. So yeah, that and the friendships have been the best part. But yeah, couldn't have gone better. I don't know what your guys' initial kind of predictions and aspirations were, but yeah, I think we've definitely exceeded mine.
Far exceeded all of our expectations. Yeah. I remember doing some market research, and I was expecting like 15 to 20 subscribers when we first launched the subscription service. We got that, I think, in an hour after the actual launch. So yeah, the response from all of you listeners and readers of our site has been immense, and the fact that we've been doing it for 3 years actually meant that there has been a changing of the guard of our subscribers as well, and some of our original fans and mates who we have been in the
It's not for me.
the community with have come and gone, and all the new kids are here, and they are still open to our ramblings, which is absolutely great.
Yeah, I'm glad you put Hazardous as first donation, because yeah, that was huge, and we were all touched. He's honorary OG for life.
He's essentially fronted us the money to set up our site, to set up the service for the podcast, and he's been a subscriber ever since. Although we have said to him he doesn't need to subscribe because we will give him the subscription for life, but he still subscribes every season, and we are grateful for his tutelage and support, and for everyone else's.
You guys remember the initial discussion about the name? How we went through like all the different iterations of draft something, and we were I think looking for some alliteration, and there were so many. And then we finally landed on Draft Society, and it was like, yeah, that for some reason hits.
And the same with the Key Pass Collective. We had some good discussions on that as well.
I think that one was tougher to come up with.
Yeah, Joe with the logos though, man, killed it. I mean,
out of the park.
Yeah, honestly, and yeah, the work he done on the website initially, it was fantastic. I mean, yeah, we've just had a great team all around. Gene, is that a gravity bong we heard?
Yeah. There's nothing going on back here. I don't know what all that is.
It was like some water running or something.
Yeah.
It was either peeing or it was bong.
Refilling the water bottle, you know.
Sure.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Sure. The fan has become the water bottle.
Yeah, I was gonna say you went this long without some sort of background noise. You just had to get that in.
The fan's in a different room, unfortunately. I could go get it if needed. But,
I mean, it's March. I don't think you need it in Canada, but
yeah, and that's enough reminiscing for one pod. We'll get the background noises pod up and running soon enough.
Speaking of which, Jeannie, are you still planning on coming stateside?
Yeah, that's it's in the plans sometime soon. So hopefully Ryan will realize I'm not just a genie avatar and finally see me in person.
We'll see. TBD.
See, I still think that your Instagram is an elaborate AI hoax.
Yeah, it's not really me. I'm just a robot out here delivering fantasy advice.
If it weren't for those rigged FC videos, I wouldn't know that you were wandering the earth.
Oh man, another throwback.
And then also the reality TV show that you did with the
rigged FC, the kidnapping.
Rigged FC reality TV. That's a throwback.
I'm gonna have to go rewatch that. Hope they found the person that did that kidnapping.
I hope so too. It's been a while.
All right, I think we yeah, went all the way up to an hour and a half. So we didn't promise a short one, and it wasn't a short one. But yeah, I don't know if you guys have any parting words, but it's been a blast, especially having you on, Jeannie. Don't be a stranger.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be less than 6 months before I'm on again.
Let's
we
hope.
have 8 more game weeks, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll try to get you on every week. We'll promise.
All right, y'all.
So,
Signing off.
Yep. See
Good
you
luck this
all
week.